Good evening, everybody. It's about that time, and so Paul, with life scheduling stuff, is unable to attend tonight. So I got picked to take the reins. Without further ado, we'll kick it off with introductions. We'll see how much the screens move around on me. But we'll start with Mike.
Good evening, everybody. This is Mike, W7RIS, located about 10 miles north of Corvallis.
Anna.
I'm Annalise McDermott, NH6Z, and I am in metropolitan Lebanon, Oregon.
Tyler.
Hi, Parsons, WB7DD, 1 mile south of downtown Corvallis.
Ted.
W7RTM, about 2 miles outside of Philomath.
And our only Paul for tonight.
Paul Branchfield, W7PEB. I'm about 12 miles south of Roseburg.
Larry.
This is Larry, AF7NU, Northeast Corvallis, and I'll be cutting out at 7:30 today for yet another Zoom meeting.
Fun times. Drew.
Drew Terrell, W3HES. Behind me, you'll see my grandfather and his radio station setup. He was the original W3HES, and I'm coming to you from Ocean Park, Washington.
Excellent. Ron.
Yeah, Ron, AE4JL from the big metropolis of Millersburg.
And then, I believe, last but not least, we have Dave. Doesn't look like Dave has his mic on, so welcome everybody. Real quick while we're here, Andy also couldn't make it for the treasurer's report, but he did pass along. In checking is $1,121.27. Savings is $2,489.17. There's $254.32 in PayPal, 81 cents in Square, and 43 cents in cash, leaving a nice round bottom total of $3,866 even. And that's where the money sits. Secretary's report. Ted.
So I sent the meeting minutes out like last Thursday for a meeting in September. If there's any additions, deletions, or errors, please let me know at rusty.hinge@gmail.com.
All right, thank you. Before we get too far along with other stuff, Mike, did you want to do presentation stuff now, or did you want to wait till later?
It doesn't make any difference to me.
All right. Well, I think we'll have a relatively short meeting, so.
Yep, I think we don't have much business there.
Yep. So I didn't have any business for upcoming stuff yet. So for old business, previous events, the only thing I had on the recollection was Rickreall happened to be Saturday. I ended up not going to the swap meet, but I was there briefly for the state Aries meeting. Was anybody find any good deals on anything while they were, or get rid of some junk that they've been hoarding for a while?
I bought a new radio.
What kind of radio?
It is a Zenith Transoceanic.
Ooh.
Whoa.
I bought it because that was my first SWL radio when I was like 4 or 5. My father had one. I believe he still has it. It's in his attic, but it was the first HF radio that I had to do SWL listening on. So
Hmm.
one was there that I offered $25 on, so it was worth $5 to get it. It works, at least on
Nice.
broadcast band. So yeah.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say that probably that was a new to you radio, but not an actual new radio.
Yeah, it's new to me. I don't know how old it is, but it's got tubes in it, so it glows in the dark.
It's kind of thing be kind of sweet to find some new in box old stocks in some back warehouse somewhere. But
So I have another old radio that I'm going to do sacrilege to, and I'm going to take out it's for my wife. I'm going to take out the guts and I'm going to put in like a home pod or something in there that I can wire up. So it looks vintage, but is modern inside.
Sounds awesome.
Also thought about doing an SDR in something like that, get a really old radio and then hack an SDR into it.
an old Kenwood or something like that with and squeeze a flex inside.
Yeah. I do have that technology.
So that's it'd be cool to get like an old like Heathkit or Drake or something and have all the different components. But
there's a guy that now works for Flex Radio that initially got me into SDR and things like that, because he gave a presentation at CPAC where he crammed an open HP SDR radio into like a Heathkit SB200, I think it was. So it was in a Heathkit chassis, but it was an open HP SDR, direct sampling SDR inside of it. So yeah, there are folks that have done that.
nice.
I mean, I also have a new radio. I have a Flex 8600M, but I'm not sure how many of those we shipped yet.
Excuse me. Any other good deals or progress with the? Must have been a slow day at the swap meet.
Yeah, I was kind of confused about that. When I pulled in there, the parking lot looked really, really full. But when I got in there, you could still get up and down the aisles. There were like maybe 3 tables that weren't sold out.
Okay.
But there's a lot of things. It seemed like that first half hour that they opened up, there was a lot of trading, a lot of things sold in before all the main people got in there.
Well, you have the standard stuff that moves from table to table every year, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of seemed to me that a lot of the stuff was components.
Hmm.
A lot of components, a lot of radio stuff, but it seemed like like meters, but there was small stuff that it seemed like I saw an awful lot of this time. But and there was some networking stuff. There was some other miscellaneous stuff in there, but it just seemed like everybody that I was talking to that scored big deals got those big deals in them like the first 30 minutes after opening.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised in that I saw a few IC 7300s. So it's interesting to me that those are starting to come on the used market at Rick Real, right?
Well, there's the glut of those things got sold, and it's time for them to be cycled out and new stuff taken a look at. Yaesu has some good offers with the D series out there. But I did not see any Flex radios out there. Also,
no, I didn't see one.
Yeah, I didn't see any big ticket items, things over $1,000.
Yeah.
I did not see much at all on any of the tables there. So when it came to amps and stuff like that, very, very few.
Yeah. There's that one guy with a couple of Meritrons that was in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
But no, not a lot of big ticket items, not a lot of new technology HF rigs besides the 7300s. No real Yaesus, no Elecrafts whatsoever. No Flexes, even our old direct conversion rigs. I didn't see any of those. I actually had a guy asking me about whether I knew anybody that had a Flex 1500 for sale.
Really?
I'm like, yeah, well, we don't even really support those anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, they're a nice portable rig. That's what people like them for, and they don't require FireWire. That was our one USB rig, so you could plug it into USB. So you can still get drivers, and you make use of it on a laptop. And I mean, it's only about like that big in the box, so a lot of people like it for portable stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one day we'll do another radio like that.
Well, got the ear to the people, so
I try. Not that I'm in charge of product, but I just write code.
yeah, that's state areas meeting. Most of the discussion was getting ready for a little bit for teams that are supporting their county's iron ore exercise here next week. And then there's going to be a small Aries set November 9th. And a kind of refreshing small scale, just try and talk to as many of your neighboring counties as you can, and then work your way out from there and see how many people are actually on the air and talk to without trying to go too overly complex with some weird scenario with alien invading or whatever. Which was, I think that was shortly before COVID hit was one of the scenarios, but uh so that was the big to do I had on my radar for since last meeting. Anybody else have anything since September?
I was going to mention that starting on Thursday, I will be camping out at Tillicum Beach, and I'm going to be bringing all my gear to do a POTA activation. So from Thursday to the following Monday, I'll be on the air at various points in time from Sayusala National Forest. So if anybody wants POTA contacts from there or has friends that do, they're more than welcome to do that. I will be running a Flex 8000 series.
You'll be testing. Are you really just running it or testing it?
We'll be running it. I mean, the software's all done. It's just production that is shipping stuff. I think we've shipped 20 radios or something like that so far. But yeah, they're still working out some kinks in the production process, but radios are starting to flow. So for those that haven't heard, we released a new radio. We announced a new radio at Hamvention. It's our next generation radio. So a lot more processor in it so that we can do cool new things with the software that aren't out there yet. We fixed a lot of stuff that we didn't like about the 6000 series. The 8000 has a built-in GPS unit in it, so you don't have to pay extra for the GPS unit. And the GPS unit, we set it up so that there is an internal NTP server on it. So you can use your radio as an NTP server for your network at home or whatever. So you can sync your PC to it and for FT8 and stuff like that. So there's some cool new features with it. The big new one that isn't enabled in software yet, we still have to write some code on it, is adaptive pre-distortion. So you'll be able to the radio can sample, essentially it samples the output signal that you're creating and compares it to the signal that it wants to transmit, and it will actually purposely distort the signal going into the amplifier in order to come out with an undistorted signal going out of it. It's due to amplifier linearity, right? So it corrects for nonlinear amplifiers, and that's both the amplifier in the radio, and if you have an external amplifier that has a sample port on it, then we can sample on the external amplifier as well to correct that. And it can be up to 30 dB on your transmit noise reduction off of what you've already got. So yeah, that's the big feature. ICOM has something like that on the 7610 that they call digital pre-distortion. Ours will be cooler than theirs. And OpenHPSDR / Apache's had it for quite a while, and ours will be more similar to that implementation. So other cool stuff. What else are we doing? we're going to write some codes that will increase the bandwidth that you're able to transmit on. So the idea is that you'll have multiple kind of sub transmitters. So if you want to transmit on multiple FT8 signals at once or something like that, then you can do that, and the transmitter will handle it. So that's one of the things that we're working on. Wider bandwidths and cooler stuff like that.
So basically, Fox and Hound is getting built into the transmitter.
Remember that we can actually mix two signals together and digitally and then put them both out. So yeah, we're planning on doing some interesting stuff with that. We don't know how exactly it's going to work yet. We're trying to work with like the authors of WSJTX in order to add code and support them in adding code into there so that it'll talk directly to the Flex and be able to do cool stuff like that. I don't know what the current status is, but it's been announced at Dayton as one of the features that we're going to be working on. So yeah.
Cool.
A lot more power in the 8000 series too. So it's about 4 times the CPU power of the 6000 series radios. So that gives us a lot more stuff that we had room to do stuff with. So anyway, I have one as my engineering rig. It will be going with me to 7QP next year, obviously, and stuff like that. So as always, if anybody likes to see one, then get a hold of me and we can arrange times to see it. Because unfortunately, you can't go to HRO and see our rigs.
Yep.
Although if you do have, if you like our amplifier or our antenna tuner, we are now selling those through DX Engineering, so that to mainly handle the people that are using our amps with other brand of rigs, because we do have all the interfacing on there. You don't have to use a Power Genius with a Flex radio necessarily. It's better if you do, but we've got CI5 ports on the back and interfacing for Yaesu and stuff like that. So you can buy our amp and interface it to somebody else's radio. Anyway, there's your Flex radio update for this evening.
Well, thanks, Anna. I'll have to make sure Paul gets that on the official agenda. More importantly, we just have to wait for when we get the samples to play with while you're given the updates.
Well, this means that I now have 4 Flexes in the rack here at home. So at 7QP, we can start getting very close to having, 5 Flex radios on the air all at the same time. Well, I guess with mics, then we can have all Flex radios at 7QP this year.
Excellent.
I would sacrifice myself for that, Anna.
I do have 2 Maestros now too, and 2 of them are with front panels, so you can have front panels and knobs on all 4 of mine.
Sounds like a good time. Upcoming stuff. The only thing I have on my radar would be that traditionally our December meeting, we've done that one in person. Last couple of times we've done that at Tommy's. So not sure what pricing or anything would look like, but if anybody wanted to reach out to either Tommy's or if they had another suggestion for someplace else to potentially hold a in-person meeting in December, I think suggestions would be welcome. And trying to think of what else is coming up between now and November.
I mean, I just had the thought if people would like to come slumming, we have a group here in Lebanon that meets at the Apple Tree in their back room every Thursday for dinner. I would have to ask, we don't pay anything for that. I would have to ask if they would, I know they make it available to other groups too. So it may be something where we can do it here for free if people are interested in driving over to Lebanon. I know it's, pretty scummy over here and you might get stabbed or something, but, it might be a possibility.
I would be for that.
Yeah.
If somebody, I'll try and make a note, and I'm not going to be there this Thursday because I'm going to be over at the coast. But next Thursday, I'll ask the waitress and see what this kind of scheduling they have there and what the deal is.
All right. Any other upcoming stuff between now and November?
For those in Lynn County, I think that's just me. But anyway, there is a Lebanon area, ARES type meeting at the hospital every month. I believe it's like the first Monday. But if anyone is interested in doing that, it's not ARES because Dan over here from Lynn County that just got put in charge of Lynn County ARES threw a hizzy fit that, the Lebanon area ARES wasn't really an ARES. So he wanted to get all copyrighty and trademarky on that. And Merlin decided to rename it to not have conflict. But anyway, we are associated. Most of the people are volunteers at the Lebanon Community Hospital. So that's kind of our served agency.
Excellent. And actually, one thing I did think of is if anybody is interested, I don't think the email actually went out to this group or not. So Scott Gilbert is working on putting together, probably in the next few weeks or so, a general class. So if anybody's looking to upgrade to general or know somebody that's would like some lecture time for an upgraded general, I think right now the plan is that I think they're talking like 6 to 9 p.m. on Fridays. Location, I believe, would be the Sunset Building in Corvallis is kind of potentially what they're looking at for that. I know there's been a few people from the OSU club that have expressed interest in that. So I will try and remember to send out a nudge for Scott to get that out to this list. So if anybody's interested, let Scott know. And he's had really good teaching success with a technician class, and there's been a growing number of people that have been wanting something similar for general. So that is on the horizon. And there's also been a few people that have been inquiring about an extra. So I think the plan is if the get through the general, see what refinements need to be made there, and then look at what it would take to do an extra class. So
I've done, units of an extra class before, and I'd be willing to do that again if somebody puts it together. Some of the stuff regarding test gear and stuff like that I've done partially because I've got a bunch of test gear that I can bring in to show people what's going on. So I'm happy to help out with an extra class that way.
Oh, awesome. I will make sure Scott has you on the radar for that. And then one bit from the Benton County Aries, actually two bits. One is Benton County Aries is now, from a legal standpoint, actually a 501c3. Wasn't actually anything before, just a DBA. That was a little scary, but it's now officially so it's technically Benton County Auxiliary Communications with the DBA of Benton County Amateur Radio Emergency Service. Because in order to move names around and organize before we got stuff transferred over, we did that. But So they're doing that, and then we also are talking about looking at maybe either once a month or every other month, depending on interest, offering a quick VE session about because the meetings are the third Thursday at 7 p.m. and we're looking at opening up about an hour early to do a quick VE session if anybody's wants to do a quick upgrade or something like that to swing by. Uh, so yeah, that's all I have, unless there's something else from anybody. Anything else for the meeting?